And welcome back to the second session of this May 31st, 2026 High Vibe Channeling. I am Ray Heitman, and I'm going to be the channeler for this second session. And as I was just conferring with the other attendees, I don't know who's coming in or what will happen. I may just sit here and pretend like I'm sleeping for a while. I have no idea. But we're going to see who decides to pop in. And there's somebody here. So let's get the show on the road. And thank you all for watching and for attending and for adding your energy to our Earth Collective. Be open-hearted. We are comfortable with this form. And we hope that you are comfortable within your forms. And we do not mean exactly your physical forms, but that you are comfortable knowing that you are of spirit. And while you may not consider that as a form, that word can be utilized for different connotations to distinguish differences, even at the non-physical level. And while anything which comes from your human speech, your vernacular, unless it is derived directly from the spirit realm, like many of your indigenous languages are, it will still contain a hint, however small that may be, of the energy behind it. But the connotations which humans can add to that can render them beyond useless, as they may become even misleading or an outright falsehood to keep you from that authenticity which you, those of you in this session, have desired to bring forth and to appreciate and attract. And you have done so. And when we say you are comfortable in your form, that word should be plural with a string of S's upon it to help you understand that you are many segments, like the book example, which was provided earlier. For indeed, you are writing your books, and there are other ones of you who have started with the same chapters, who are finishing different endings and other avenues of expression. But that is not new to any of you, which is why you are in ways an elite group, because together you build each other up. You add to those energies. And it is not just a knowing of your mind or an expanding of concepts which you can delve into later. It is the literal adding of vibrations as building blocks to your reality, which you express, which you exist within, and of course create. So together, you build each other up, literally. And you do have that phrase where people take you down or they bring you down. And that phrase too has its vibrational metaphors or analogy. or causations to it. But that again is your choice. And those of you who have learned to maintain their preferred state of mind, regardless of the external environment, are indeed speakers in a profound way of spiritually thinking. We use that term because this particular being has it in high regard due to his undertaking of the Seth material, which utilizes that term as a signifier of those physical beings who have come forth to help spread knowledge and the aids to help others explore their inner realms and learn more of what and who and they are and they are not. But the part that they are not is the biggest illusion that humans may have, for you are indeed all of it. And your language is full of such humorous tidbits for those who are observing you. And they do view you in a very loving manner, for that is the nature of your experience, to find new ways to transform things into love. And you all love to do that. And that is not irony, that is your authenticity showing. For when you love to express love, you are empowering yourself to have more of an impact, not only on those around you, but in opening up many new paths of fulfillment for you and those who are related to you in a more direct fashion in your understanding. And if you have questions for us, we understand that that is preferred in these types of engagements. And we do know that you have inquiring minds among you, even though the phrasing of those questions may keep some of you from espousing them or espousing them. And we will pause.
Greetings to you, and thank you very much for being here with us tonight and for all your love.
Our pleasure. Otherwise, we would be focusing our energies elsewhere. And of course, it is this one's energies. We are merely providing the code or the symbolism so that this communication can be registered by all of you. And we thank you for coming forth. And we do understand from another being who has thrown us a little message that you do have a cape of courage, so we should have expected you to come forth in that way.
Hmm. Well, I am very grateful and I like to express it. I'm sure you feel it as you feel the other attendees as well, even if they don't speak. But I like to express it in words as well.
And you do a service to all when you do such things, not only because you may bring up things which they are interested in, but they do not really appreciate or like the silences. And if they go on for too long, then they have these thoughts of, I hope somebody says something. So you save them from that minor dilemma. And oh my gosh, they may have to come up with something of their own to escape that silence. But do not fret, because this one has been known to seize upon those opportunities and to keep them active for quite some time.
Yes. Would you like to speak a bit more about our relationships with the animals and how they are of such great service to us? Um, what I have observed is that we don't appreciate them enough. And I wanted to mention an example. There's a lot of talk about horses, and they're very special. But we also have donkeys on this planet, and I find them adorable and a bit neglected. Would you like to tell us something about the spiritual side of donkeys?
Each of the critters on your planet which you experience has its own acceptable framework, such as humans do, that they operate within. And within that framework, and at times far exceeding it, other forms of consciousness can choose how to go about the decision making and the intents and creating the reality of those particular beings in your timeline. Your donkeys are merely another one of those. And humans can form valuable relationships and communications with virtually every being on your planet. And we say that knowing that all is conscious. And if it is conscious, it is a being. But we will focus our answer upon those creatures which move about and which is easier to accept for humans that they are your creatures, your earth animals, or insects, birds, whatever it may be. For your donkeys in particular, because they are a mix, a purposeful mix of different energies. And they do have traits, and they are more susceptible to the energies of the earth in the time frame in which they were created. So you will find that although donkeys do have a personality which can be termed as stubborn, that merely goes to their history in your linear speaking unfoldment, where they had desires and they were denied. And they did not understand that. And perhaps that was one of the reasons why that soul expression chose that form to learn from that. But they remember. They remember virtually everything like your horses do. They have more of a long-term memory, not as long as your whales or your pachyderms, your elephants, but they have a significant memory and they can use that as the basis of relationships. Now, not all of those relationships are favorable from a human point of view. If you tug on that bit several times, especially when their mouth is sore, and you Play hide and seek with the apple or other treats and do not give it to them. You may find that when they're just casually doing their thing, they sense your energy and they are hoping that you will walk behind them so that you can give them some, or they can give you something to remember them by. And they do not think forward into any consequences of that, but they are merely expressing that energy which they have carried inside them. And animals, being reflections of, we will say, closely related to the reflections of the beings or humans which take care of them or which are predominant in their life, are a very good reflection of that. So if you have somebody and you know they are very loving and they will be of service when their heart calls them, and you find out that they have an animal, a cat, a dog, a donkey, a sheep, probably not a snake or a lizard or an alligator, perhaps, but you can trust that that animal will reflect that loving intent and care and compassion of the human, not to the human extent, but still it will be prevalent. And likewise, you have someone who is abusive, who kicks at animals, who cusses at cars, and who takes actions to malign or to make life more difficult for others. If they ask to, or if they ask you to see their pet, we would urge you to find other sources of entertainment because those are the animals which wish to release that information, that energy. And they are more than likely bite. But that is a generalization because some just have such a loving nature that no matter what their keepers may do, they will still seek to find some love somewhere to help nourish their heart or their soul. And we are glad that that pleased you.
Yes, thank you very much.
So I have a question.
Thank
Um,
you.
I was wondering if you could share with us what is your highest excitement?
At the higher levels, even for yourselves outside of your physical representation, there is not that judgment. It is expansion, it is growth. And while some of those areas are more preferred, we will say, in your terminology, it still provides a type of contrast, but understand that most of those expressions are going to seek out what you would consider the highs and the lows of every expression. It is like when you look at your globe, your Earth from space, and you focus on one particular portion of it, say one city within one of your arbitrary lines you call countries, you would want to find another space to look at which was different. And in fact, you may choose to explore every inch of that planet, for it is indeed not physical from those points of view, but that will provide you with a greater sense of expansion and more opportunities for growth. If you went to go paint and you only had 20 colors in which to do so, that would seem sufficient. But if you had 100 different colors and you could discern with between them, and you had other variables like different types or grades of pigment, then you would have the options of creating many more types of results. And that is the same from the higher levels as well, in using your terms. But it is all a choice. And that is the main source, for there are beings who choose one or two lifetimes in any particular realm, and they just want to taste, like you might do at your large stores that give out free samples as you push your cart by. Oh, would you like to try some of these mulberry nougats? They're on sale today. And then you can sample those as you walk by, and then you gauge that against your preferences. And sometimes you may be struck and say, that was really good. And you may be tempted to go purchase that so that you can have that experience again. And it will be similar, but obviously it will be different as well because you do not have any experience again. It is the similarities which give you or give rise to that idea, that concept. But outside of it, there are there are no beings who understand that anything is the same. In a roundabout way, we feel we have addressed your question. Would you like us to alter our answer or come forth with another?
Well, I was going to ask, uh, can you share with us some of the explorations that you are uh, doing right now? Or take off the right now. Some some explorations that you are involved in.
As strange as it may be, we are exploring what can loosely be considered or labeled for your understanding speed, the quickness with which we can convey or transmit not only information, but create forms of consciousness in various realms. That would be like you stretching your muscles. You do your stretching exercise, you do all kinds of different sets of weightlifting and yoga and nutrition and other things so that you can continue to build up and become stronger in that way. And that is one of the ways which we are exploring at this quote unquote time. And it is not necessary to do so, for there is no time to hurry or to wait outside of those quaint physical realities such as yours, those densified regions. But there are many types of time, and we are taking it upon ourselves, and nothing happens by a single entity. They all interact with many others and are part of those other explorations, whether they are aware of them or not. But for instance, if you wish to send thoughts out to 400 people, at the same time so that they would get them and act upon them. That would be analogous to what we are endeavoring and accomplishing at this time. And we are getting feedback from all of those explorations, all of those bits of consciousness, which may be in many densified realms and some outside of densified realms, but are still probes, you might say, of our explorations of our consciousness. And we are viewing them from that perspective, which is another way of creating newness in trying to do that or accomplishing and doing that with great speed, accelerating them in ways, not only in their formation, but in their lives as well. And that just requires changing of form, which you do multiple times each second of your time as well. And we do appreciate your question to try to reach beyond what you know and tap into that higher learning as you have interpreted it, that more advanced perspective to see what might be of interest to you, and then you can concentrate and act your welcoming guides, and they are very loving, of how that might be integrated into your physical form or into your non-physical form so that you may utilize that in whatever form you end up with in your future.
Thank you for that. I appreciate your answer.
We would say we try to be quick, but that would be more of an obvious pun and not a very good one. And we do appreciate all of you giving us this opportunity. And this particular one has been of interest simply because he can or he is open to such opportunities and access points. And we have taken it upon ourselves to come through in this way, more so for the novelty of it, but also to check the parameters, take the temperatures of not only him, but of all of you as well. For there are many beings who wish to learn more about you in a more direct fashion. It is that question again of knowing and doing are two different things. And we decided to come forth and to utilize the faculties which are available in this particular realm. And not only so we can observe all of you, but so that we may observe ourselves and how we perform in this particular experience. That is another thing which you may do often in your dream selves. And when you get to that point, this one had an experience with that in his last dream self, our dream state, where he was watching himself and another individual discussing how different realities would play out. And they were analyzing them. And when he awakened, he was rather puzzled by that because he remembered having that discussion and he remembered viewing himself having that discussion. in the dream state with another being who is obviously just not a physical form, but there were no forms at all. But when that information is brought forth into your reality, you apply that to them so you can affix a label and make some sense of it. And we urge you, if you have those types of dreams, to congratulate yourselves because you are integrating more of your energies where you can see yourself seeing yourself in your various guises, in your separations from your main core identity. Does that make sense for you?
Yes, it does. Yeah, I don't think I've had that particular experience. Maybe somebody else has. Whenever I'm in one of my dreams, I am myself. I'm not observing myself. But maybe somebody else here can speak to that experience. I don't know.
And you, since you were looking for novel ways to incorporate or integrate more experiences in, you can have that sleep suggestion now that you know it is a possibility. And it will help you lead to more lucid dreaming. And that is one of the goals which this particular human is headed for, although he does not express the intent to do so. That is more of a convenience for the many different types of energies and beings which are interacting with him, and those are growing in number, we will say, for the changes, the transformations coming to your planet and your race, and those who are impacted by those changes. Those observing are increasing in number as well, because no one shows up to the party 2 days early. You all come right on time so you can get the best experience and not miss out, if that is your choice. And that is what is happening now with your particular space-time coordinate, physical reality.
Thank you for that. Everyone's invited to the party.
And what a party it is.
Yes, and Ray mentioned earlier about how he's outside of space and time when he's channeling. And I have that feeling very, very strongly sometimes when I am at a concert, at a live concert. I almost forgot about my identity recently. Never mind space and time. And I was wondering how is that viewed from like the non-physical side? What happens?
You are experiencing more of the oneness
Hmm.
of all of those beings who are experiencing the same emotion within a very narrow range. It is like you're all in the same swimming pool, you will say. It's all at the one temperature, and you're all experiencing at that temperature. But the excitement builds, and that was discussed by us just a short time ago and touched upon by the other channeled entity, Chris, where you are building upon each other and lifting each other up. You are all tapping into a specific energy stream. And in that stream, you lose the identity of your physical self, or you can, depending on how strong and attached your ego is to your experience, because you are focused on that emotion, that joy, that elation, and the music itself helps to do that. because it provides a unifying experience in your physical realm. Because you are fairly certain that every being is hearing the same thing and you are sharing the same experience. And for you, that has value because, as you are all aware, the more of you who are all experiencing the same emotion, that oneness unites you for as long as that lasts. And it will last even after that, which is why you are so excited and talking about what a great time that was, because you are still riding on the coattails, we will say, of that energy. And part of that is because that experience, it persists longer than the event itself because many other beings, non-physical entities, or interested parties are participating in that as well because you are lighter. You are not as dense. You are you are allowing easier access, we will say, to those beings. And that joyful experience is closer to the love energy from which you came. And that triggers certain observations as well. For when those are activated, there are many beings which wish to get that particular perspective from many different types. And that happens, types of perspectives from the individuals involved. And that happens at sporting events as well. And it happens at other large gatherings, like a birthday party for someone who is dearly loved. And it can also go the other way with some of your less desirable emotions. But we will keep it focused and have you continue to rock on.
Thank you very much. So, would you like to share your findings with us on this experience?
Do you not remember?
No, I mean, because you came like, and you said that you wanted to like test the waters.
Oh, you are referring to this particular engagement with your
Yes.
group and
Yes.
not your experience with your band and your participants. It is obviously delightful, or we would not have pursued it. But you do need to understand that it has already been done. It has already been expressed every way that it can. You are merely experiencing them in a series of, like your movies, little tidbits of stationary energy. And you knit them together so well so you can experience the fluidity of time. But for us, that is not the way we experience. We understand all of those, and we have inserted ourselves into those experiences that you hear and feel and think about because it is a way we can come amongst you in ways and view ourselves not only through this physical individual, but through your psyches as well, and from numerous other layers of beings and densities, which we are. It is multi-layered. How often have you wished that you could see yourself doing specific things at different ages in your life. Just to watch them go through some of those happy moments time and time again. And outside of your time, you can do all of those at once. Every segment, every change of every second, and even more minuscule divisions. That is what we experience. But we are also experiencing the energetic changes, not only in each of you as individuals, but observing the new paths of reality creation, unfoldment, and fulfillment, which you are creating, with each thought, with each emotion, with each transformation of negativity into love. Now, we are unable to answer your question as posed, but we hope that that will fulfill our obligation therein, we will say. And if not, please ask again.
You're very kind. That was a very nice answer. So, would you have any advice for the members of this group for the coming tidbits in our linear time?
Yes, we would. And it is going to be a bit of an exercise for all who wish to play. But we would like for all of you kind, open-hearted souls to unmute and one at a time address each of the other individuals and give them something of value. That would be our gift to you. A compliment. It does not have to be a criticism, just some love energy.
Oh, Wanda is sending kisses.
Thanks, Wanda. I'm giving you both a virtual hug.
Yeah, thank you.
Did you leave anyone out?
Oh, here's a hug for you, Ray.
Is that all of the attendees?
Yeah.
Okay, we are just checking.
Oh, and for myself.
And for yourself, there you go.
And for all the ones that we cannot see, which would be, I don't know how many, but I'm guessing a rather big number.
I
A
have
big
plans
hug.
later. I have plans later. Is there enough time for that? Here's one big hug for everybody. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Wonderful. That is a fine expression, and they accept. And thinking of them shows your growth as well. For indeed, that request is not limited to just your physical forms, but that you did come together in that way. You all experienced more of that group joy, that connection. That was the purpose of that, so that you can bond further and have more of that belonging, not to the group, but to the energy of belonging together. And we thank you for coming forth in that way. It was enjoyable, and not just to us, but to all of the beings who have taken a respective bow and smiled upon you. And may you feel that as well.
I I know there's a lot that are non-physical, but for the physical ones, I had a communication with a wonderful Pleiadian female. Her name is Marie, and we agreed that because she also likes to investigate different races of extraterrestrials, and I asked her to also look into the races that like hugs. So this is an ongoing project, and I really look forward to the results of that one. Please feel free to comment if you like.
You, and that is a wonderful idea from your perspective. But the truth of the matter is the emotion which is attached to or related to those physical expressions you term as hugs is where the preferences come to bear. Some people, it is, even if they do experience them, they loathe them. It is a violation of personal space. Some depend on those because they value that as part of their identity. And if they don't get that, then they lose some of that wholeness because they lack the confidence. And others will just reach out in an open hearted fashion. And those are the ones which everyone craves because that energy matches your energy. It touches on not only your past experiences, but it strums a chord of love which extends beyond the moment and calls to many different densities, layers, dimensions, types of beings, whether physical or not, because that energy does radiate its own particular light. And some, as we have said, if it is associated with with an activity like hugs, which are not appreciated, then it carries a different weight, we will say, not only in your physical realm, but indicated within the energetic resonance outside of it. So we wish for you to look forward to hearing more about those realms which are physical, which do involve hugging. But you may not be surprised, and you may, that it does not have to involve touching. It is merely an energy which is provided from one being, one conscious form, to another which is representative of that emotion which you are looking for. Now, in your particular physical form, those energies are transferred in proximity easier than they can be from a distance. You just don't get the same feeling hugging someone from 30 feet away. And that is a significant example of that. So while we do wish for your quest to be fulfilled and for the answers to thrill you, know it is your heart that you are hugging with, not your arm.
Correct, thank you. And I understand this because I did just give loads of hugs to all the other non-visible and non-physical attendees. So yes, I agree with you. Thank you.
And what did you receive in return?
Loads of love.
A wonderful expression of a
Yes.
wonderful you and your big heart. And all of these loving beings, which are privy to this particular voice in this particular time, you're all wonderful, loving people. It is amazing. There would be much fewer opportunities for chaos or turmoil or the exploration of those termed low vibrational behaviors if the majority of individuals on your planet were like you, which is exactly why they are not yet. You are setting the stage, but there are still those contrast, those low vibrational behaviors which some beings choose to experience in this space time coordinate or timeline which you are related to. But we look for the love, and we have found you. And that is a Hallmark card that you can take and tuck away inside you if you would like.
It's golden and sparkly. Thank you.
And we'll leave it up to you if that concludes this evening, this session.
Would you have any message for Ray?
Many, but he thinks too much upon them, and bringing them forth would alter certain probabilities. So he already has the instructions that he needs. He has indeed asked 5 different channeled entities for information on his upcoming trip. He does like to have that ego stroked and those reaffirming joys come forth to him. It is part of his makeup. But we can say the streamlining of more or less close relationships will be beneficial. And that is good information for all of you. For humans have this tendency to wish to stay in touch with people they really don't care about or think about. When they come up and you see them on your phone list, you're like, oh, I haven't talked to them in a while. And then you're not going to do it that day either. And then perhaps think, why do I have this person? Why do I have this energy attached to it? And if there is an oddment to that, as Chris had said, then reach out. And if not, maybe it will serve you. But that again is your choice. For this particular being, he does that on a regular basis, and he gives it no further thought. And if they pop up, and he can address it then. But it is like those spices you keep in the back of your spice rack that you never use. And you like, well, maybe one day, I know there was that one recipe, and then you look at it again and it says best by 2017. And you're like, I have been holding on to this particular energy and I have never utilized it. Maybe it's best if I thin that or I look at the other relationships or attachments that I have and I streamline it so that I can more fully focus my love on those preferences. You do not have to keep those around, whether they are old friends or biological attachments through heredity, whatever it may be. It is time to reassess your relationships and to provide more attention to the ones you prefer. And if you don't have time to get to all of the other ones, perhaps it is time to let them go as well. You may find out that they have already left you and you are holding on to them. That is not a request or an urging. It is just a concept for you to reflect upon. And when you come across those situations, you can decide what is best for you, not what is best for them, unless it is your heart's calling. But don't let your mind clutter up your experience because of social norms or things which have happened in the past which will not be part of your future.
Thank you very much for this. I'm sure it is good for all of us to ponder on. Yeah.
And we thank you again for giving us the opportunity, and for this one, for being accepting and accessible. And we wish you all for the love energy which pleases you the most. They were sticking around to see how I released and let go of the energy.
They were very loving.
I thank you. I guess. I don't know if I can, I don't know if it's up to me to say thank you. But it seemed to me like this was a side trip for them. Like they had a destination. They said, "Oh, look over here." Whoever they were. But I did like Heidi's question because they were, and it might have been kind of a competition within themselves or other beings about creating the fullness of a conscious form in a particular realm and getting it to a certain point fast. It's like, hey, if you wanted to um, invent somebody who could win an Olympic race, then, you're going to create all of this reality around them and imbue them with specific physical traits and make sure they connect with, the right trainers and the nutritionists and they go to the right school and everything falls into place. That's the idea that I had that they were doing. It was the outcomes that they were really interested in, not the creation of the particular beings. Interesting. And I don't remember much about what they talked about. I remember they talked about the building a foundation when we grouped together. We're lifting each other up
Yes.
by adding our energy to everyone else's energy. I thought that was interesting.
Mm.
And I liked their answer about you when you were at your concert.
Mm. Yes.
That was pretty cool. I don't remember much about it except they said it was a you're accessing a specific range of emotion that is shared, and that is
Yeah,
and that is grouping together.
yeah, but it as everything is. It's very multidimensional,
Yeah.
and it's they expressed it in a very nice way.
Cool. Yeah, I'll have to go.
How it's like more the feeling of oneness and
Yeah.
yeah.
And they were keen on that during those types of moments that you are not experiencing it in your physical form because there are other beings which are experiencing that with you. They want to share that joy. And when you have it in those groups, it's just fantastic. And, the songs do that very well. We've all been moved to tears and wanted to take certain songs and beat them with a hammer. 'Cause they just don't resonate with, maybe that's just me.